Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday to you. The first Wednesday of February, no less. And a very warm welcome to kind of Why Not Wednesday, although we don't do them as often as we used to. I'm just checking. I'm checking the monitor to make sure I'm live and that you can see and hear me. And I'm seeing comments already. So fingers crossed. You can see and hear me, and you found me over on YouTube because we've had a change to our streaming arrangements, and I can't now stream live to more than one place at once. So we've decided YouTube is the best place, partly because Facebook doesn't keep lives for more than 30 days, so there's nothing for you to go back to, and also because this seems to be a good place to be able to chat and see comments and catch up with each other. So I'm glad that you found me here this evening, and it's lovely to see your names in the chat. This is my first live of the year, everybody. Can you believe? I did a workshop with the Craft Collective online a couple of weeks ago, but this is my first Funky Fossil live, so lovely to see you. And let me say some hellos. There's got Vanessa and Andrea, Selena, Julie, Steph, Natalie, Safia. Hi, Safia. Thank you for joining us for the first time. That's really kind of you to join us. And please, anybody else that's new, do say hello, and would like to give you a very warm welcome to the live. Hello, Dawn, as well. Oh, it's lovely to see you all. I hope your year has started off well. It's, of course, being in the UK, very grey, a bit chilly and very wet. So it's definitely premium crafting weather, and that's what I've been doing lots of. I've had a kind of a slow start to the year, I think, really struggling to get my energy levels up. I always do in winter with the kind of shorter days, but I've been particularly noticing it this year that I've been really kind of struggling to rev the engines. But I'm back up to speed now, and I'm so excited about tonight's release as well. The collection has had me properly inspired over the past few weeks. I've been making lots of samples, which I'll share with you. Hi, Ali. Hi, Elizabeth. You finally caught me live from Utah. Oh, welcome. I don't know what time it is with you, but so thank you so much for tuning in. Debbie, Mr. G's just told me that he can see and hear me, so I know I'm live in the kitchen. Hi, Donna, lovely. Oh, great. We've got lots of you in this evening. So what are we going to do this evening? Absolutely want to get a bit of crafting done. I want to do a little bit of making with the new products. And of course, it is the beginning of the month. So I've got my 3 jars of inspiration in front of me, so we can pick out some prompts to get us started for our Take 3 challenge for February. And that reminds me that I need to announce the winner from the January challenge. Apologies, I've kept saying I'm going to announce who the winner is, and then I keep forgetting to post it. So the winner, and I think she's on tonight. Oh, she's just commented, is Andrea and Andres is our winner. So well done, Andrea. I will send you out a prize bundle of goodies either tomorrow or Friday at the very latest. I'm fairly sure I've got your address, so there's no need to message me with that. I'll get in touch with you if I can't find it, but I should have your address. So congratulations and thank you for taking part. For those of you that don't know about our Take 3 challenge, over in our Facebook group, Fun with Funky Fossil, all the F's, we have a monthly challenge. And what we do at the beginning of every month is we pick a colour, a theme and a technique completely at random from our jars of inspiration. So I like to do the picking the prompts live, so you know that I've not doctored the results. And then we share makes with those using those 3 prompts in the Facebook group. It doesn't need to be all Funky Fossil products. I do like to see one Funky Fossil product in the make, but I absolutely encourage and welcome you using lots of different brands on your makes. So if you'd like to get involved, if it's a good way of getting your crafty mojo started, and I know lots of you like it because it's kind of got you scratching your head and maybe trying things that you wouldn't normally put together, then this is a good one to play along with. I'm sure, I know I've got your address, Andrea. Selena, I don't know why the album, who's in silent mode? I'm in silent mode. That's probably the best way to watch me, Jane. I don't know, Selena, why the album keeps disappearing. Somebody commented, I can't remember who, but it was really helpful, that apparently when people put a new photo in the album, it needs almost to be reset, or you need to approve it as the admin in order for the album to reappear. But I've not been getting any approval requests coming through. So I have kind of kept going in and trying to refresh the album to make sure it reappears. But it's got a mind of its own, hasn't it? So my basic solution, I know it's not ideal because I know we all like to go in and see all the kind of the entries and all the inspiration in one place. But I know a lot of you have been doing this as well. When I put the prompt and I pin it to the top of the Facebook group, I put the prompt with the three prompts for the month. When I put that post up, then if you can attach your entries in the comments, at least I know I'm not missing anybody. I will set up another album and we'll keep giving it a go. But absolutely do put your entries underneath that post that's pinned to the top of the group, so that I absolutely know that I don't miss anybody's entries. But it's a bizarre one. I've looked it up on, done all the Google searches and tried to work out what it is. I don't think it's anything in terms of how I've set it up. But anyway, we'll keep trying, and apologies for it being so erratic. Your private challenge is getting to your craft desk, Vanessa. Well, no stitching. Honestly, it's all about the challenge, Donna. You've got to kind of take the. I had purple. If I had purple, you could manage stitching, I'm sure. And as I said, it could have been faux stitching. It could have been dyes. Anyway, I'm sure it won't be stitching because I haven't put those prompts back in the jars yet, because I don't like to duplicate the prompts kind of 2 months in a row. So previous month's prompts have gone back in the jars, but not last month. Purple was easy. Purple was not easy. Yeah, I do. I think there is a glitch on it. I mean, certainly when I look, sorry, I'm back to the album. I'm looking at comments. When I, what was I going to say? When I did some research on it, there certainly seemed to be a lot of discussion about it. So it seemed to be something that was affecting other groups as well. I don't know. Who's got a Christmas? I can't follow what you're all saying. I keep looking across. You know how easily distracted I am. Right. Let's pick our prompts to start with. Then we'll have a look at the new goodies, and I won't spend ages on that because you can see them on the website, etc. But we'll then get to having a bit of a demo and a play with the goodies, because I've got a few very simple ideas that I thought you might enjoy. Oh, I hope your partner's better, Selena, because I know you've been struggling to make time for your crafting. So hopefully you get some time in February. It is difficult, isn't it, when our crafting or our creative time gets eroded, because I'm sure it's something that keeps us all feeling more positive, certainly during the winter. Right, I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll have a look at the jars of inspiration. Color, theme, and technique. I have checked, she says, I have checked that I have got the right lids on the right jars, because I'm all, oh, bless you, Selena. We'll chat offline then, lovely. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I have checked that I've got my right lids on the right jars, because you know how confused I get when I take out an inspiration prompt and it doesn't have a colour on it. So I think I've got it right this month. So we'll start with colour, and at least I can be confident that there shouldn't be purple this month, because I haven't put that back in yet. So let's see. I'm sure there's probably a kind of digital way of doing this. Yes, we need to get you creating again, Dawn. Oh, that was going to be I don't know. Is it going to be a challenging one? Yellow. I don't use a lot of yellow, but I must admit, during these kind of grey months, yellow does have an appeal. So yeah, colour. Now remember, as we say when we talk about colour, the whole project doesn't have to be yellow, just as long as there is some yellow on it somewhere. So if yellow isn't your favourite go-to colour, at least if there's some kind of accent or element on your make that has got yellow in it, that is fine. It doesn't need to be the whole thing. Yeah, so it is a spring colour, isn't it, Selena? That's what I'm thinking about. Oh yeah, the bees, Donna, of course. The Let It Be collection. Perfect, because you can all put yellow on your bees. We're sorted. What have I got now? Theme. It'd be ideal if it was bees, wouldn't it? I can't open this one. Ooh, I like that one. Gratitude. So there we go. We've got yellow and gratitude. This is lining up nicely, everybody. I like that. So again, that you can interpret that any way you want to. If it's an art journal page, if it's a card, whatever the make, it could be a thank you card, but it also could be a reflection on things that you are grateful for. And technique. Let's see if I maybe did pop stitching back in there for Donna. Let's see what we've got. Oh, clean and simple. Well, actually, now isn't it wonderful how different the challenges are month on month? Because last month it was purple, stitching and love. This month we've got yellow, gratitude, clean and simple. So for those of you that struggle to get your whites, keep your white space on your projects, that will be your challenge this month. For others of us, it might be the colour or it might be the theme. But if you can combine those three in some way in your project, could be an MDF project, could be a card, could be a journal page, could be a stitch project, it could be one of our fabric panels, which we're going to come to in a minute. Then yeah, exactly, clean and simple, Donna. I bet you would have preferred stitching. Anything you want to make, it does not have to be a particular format. So there we go. I will of course put those in a post in the Facebook group, so we've got a reminder, and I'll put it in the on my next newsletter as well, just to keep you reminded of what those challenge prompts are. So let me just put the jars behind me, because then I won't run out of space on my table. Right, so let's have a look at the new products, and hopefully you've been liking what you've been seeing online. So these are all now in store. They went in store. They went on the website this morning. Oh, put me on sound now. Put me on soup. Hopefully you're just going to put me on sound, Jane. So this is the new collection, and as I've mentioned already, I have been doing a lot of making with this collection. Sometimes just the combination of colours and designs just gel, and the ideas keep coming. So I've got lots to share with you about what I've been making with this. So this is our second paper pad of the year, and I won't be doing paper pads every month, because obviously from a cost perspective, etc., but this felt like a lovely way to bring kind of spring into our crafting a little bit before maybe the weather catches up with us. So Sherbet Fizz, and this paper pad is kind of full of soft muted colours, but with a bit of that distressing, so it kind of, it's not too pretty. It's got a bit of an edge, a bit of a grungy edge to it. So I'll have a quick flick through. You've got your distressed wood here with patterns on. I do love these pages because, and this is what one of the ones I'm going to demo on, there's enough space on there for you to then add your stenciling, your stamping, personalize and customize this. Remember, our pattern papers can be jumping off point rather than the final piece that we work with. That's lovely. I mean, these are very usable patterns. They're quite gentle on the eye, as she says, as she goes on to these stronger chevrons. But the color combination has got your kind of dusty pink, some kind of very light yellow ochre, a grey and a teal. So really nice to work with. Of course, you've got your yellow in there for those of us who are thinking about the challenge. Quite neutral backgrounds, really soft. They're not available digitally, Vanessa. I have just released it as a physical paper pad for this month. Whether it becomes digital further down the line, we'll have to see. But for now, I've got this just as a physical product. Another of my distressy pages, and then these kind of chevrons. And you can see everything's got that just slight edge taken off it. Nothing's too bright and shiny and strong in colour. I've used this one a lot. Maybe it's because it goes well with the bees. I don't know, but I love a kind of, it's yellow ochre, but maybe a bit towards the chartreuse. It's just a really lovely colour. And then we've got a kind of a background, get lots of kind of little triangles in that same palette. And I'm back to the beginning. So this is a lovely, lovely paper pad. As I say, lots you can do with it, really craftable. It's not the kind of patterns which are going to be overwhelming and you're thinking, okay, but what or how do I build on top of this? It's a real kind of, I think it's a really nice stash builder. It's one that I will be using a lot just because it gives me some nice points of inspiration. I mean, like from this one, you've got, on some of them, you've got, you kind of do circles, you've got stars, you've got your half tones. There are things in here which, you know, as you know from our stamps, etc. We've got nice elements that we can stamp on top of this that will complement what's already down there. So paper pad. And then we've got two stamp sets, two A5 stamp sets. We've got the Let It Be. I'm hoping I've not got too much glare on it. Beautiful artwork. The artist behind these is a tattoo artist, so you can see already that kind of, there's an element of geometry to it all, which I really like. But this bee, for example, has got kind of florals in its body. It's just got a nice twist on what we all love as well, I certainly love as an icon. Is that bee is a great great image, and these are a nice size as well to work with. The only thing that I have pulled across from our collection from probably about 3 or 4 years ago now, we had a bee collection which is no longer available, but I have pulled across that the hexagon element because it is such a lovely builder stamp for backgrounds, etc. So that's the only thing that for those of you that have purchased in the past you might recognize. And then the Inky Botanicals are really, really cool because they have that kind of, they're intended to be really imperfect. They're intended to almost give you the look as if you'd either used a gel plate or had kind of pressed a painty botanical onto paper. So it's a kind of an impression of florals rather than being a realistic, well, not realistic, but being a detailed image. So perfect for those of you who kind of feel like, oh, I don't always get a great stamping result, because these are already kind of quite distressed in nature, and also they're effectively giving you a kind of silhouette image. So if, like me, sometimes you get a bit impatient with colouring in, these are great because they give you immediate impact on your project. So I think these two work nicely together. Obviously, I mean, for me, this is an all year round. Will add interest to lots of projects because it's not going to necessarily distract from what's on top of it. But of course, the bees and the botanicals work nicely together. And then stencils, but of course, we're always going to have a stencil. I've got an 8x8, which is called Bountiful. And I just love the florals on this. It's a really nice stencil. Again, it's got that not empty, but open space around the floral. So you could pick out individual flowers to use as stencils, but equally you've got quite a space in here, so it doesn't overwhelm a focal point as a background. And of course we've got bees, so we have to have a honeycomb. Was it last month? Was it January? I think it was. We brought out a collection of A7 stencils, and there was a mini honeycomb in there, and I've extended the design into this A5. This is an A5 size stencil, but for those of you that like to work in different scales of the same pattern, then this will work well with the A7 that we've brought out previously. So they're the new for me, this is the core collection. So on the website, I put this in as a core collection, as a single bundle. Obviously, everything's available individually. If you buy the core collection, this bundle, I'm going to throw in one of our little MDF honeycomb hearts as a little freebie. So this bundle's discounted, and I'll add this in as a little free gift as well. Are the stencils, well, those two stencils are new, Julie, other than obviously the hexagon being a scaling up of the A7, but those two are new. But I was just about to show you two other stencils which I've added to the shop, and these are scaling ups of previous stencils. So we've got Star Spangled and we've got Spin Cycle. Now we've had these in the shop for probably a number of years, in a smaller version. So these are bigger versions of designs that you may already have, but I haven't put that in the core bundle, because obviously for people, I don't like people to feel they're duplicating something they already have. They're available to buy separately, but the two in this bundle I haven't brought out in this format before. Does that make sense, Julie? I hope it does. Your name means bee. Does it really? Debbie, that's oh, I didn't realise that. Oh, you distracted me, Debbie. What was I going to say now? What was I going to say next? Oh, the other bit of kind of bee related ephemera paraphernalia that I've put in the shop is this little honeycomb frame. We'll say little, it's about 19 centimeters, so just short of an 8x8 honeycomb frame. You know, I don't need to explain the options that this gives you. I throw in the panel that I've cut out the middle to create the frame, so you've got that as an additional bit if you wanted to put it popped up on foam tape to have a kind of focal point that comes out of the frame. It's there for you. You could use that as its own element, etc. You know how you can kind of break these little sets up if you want to make them go further. But I just thought this would be a nice addition for those of you that like to create things that go off the page effectively. And I'll say we've got the honeycomb hearts as well. What else have I got in front of me? Oh, I've got the washi tape. I haven't really had much time to show you the washi tape because it literally came only the other day. So, and this doesn't really tell you much, does it? It's not very interesting. So I've got four washi tapes which are new in the store. Again, I haven't put them in the core collection. They're available separately. Again, I don't like the core collection to be more expensive than I can absolutely make it. I like to feel you've got a very craftable set of products as your core, and then you can extend it as suits your style. Some of you will go for MDF, some of you might go for the washi, etc. But these four are fabulous because they're going to be real workhorses in your washi tape collection. This you may recognize is the typography stamp. I think we've had it as an embossing folder as well, but in washi format. That's excuse me, that's 3 centimeters. Then we've got a little dotty pattern which is almost like the kind of thing you could kind of put in your journals and planners, but it's a really nice size. That was the narrowest. I think that's a 1 centimeter, and then these two are 1.5 centimeters. So we've got our brush strokes and we've got graph paper in black. So black and white I like with my it would work. I like black and white for my washi tape because I like something that's going to give me contrast as a final touch on everything. And I don't need to think too hard about whether it will coordinate. And because you where obviously you've got your white areas on washi, because it's slightly translucent, your underlying colours will show through in a more muted way, so it always kind of blends nicely into your project. Yes, it would, Debbie. The A7 Broken Hexagon stamp, I have been using it with this collection because it does work perfectly with the designs, and you'll see it on some of the samples. And then the final thing, which is new, that is a bit of a departure, and it's the first time I've ever done it, but I'm so excited about it, is we've got some 10-inch fabric panels, printed panels. And I don't want anybody to kind of look at this and go, oh, but I don't do stitching, because of course you can colour, paint and embellish these in lots of different ways. And I will absolutely record some tutorials or some videos to kind of get your kind of your inspiration on what you could do with these. I've got some samples that I'm going to share with you as well. So I've got 5 designs, and really wanting to get your feedback or see how popular they are as to whether it's something that I could continue to do more of. I really hope it is. And I've gone for this first set of 5 panels, I've gone for some of our most popular designs. So they're things you're familiar with, but obviously scaled up to fit this bigger surface. So if you want to put them onto bags, onto cushions, on journal covers, etc., then you're going to have that artwork now in this format. So we've got our winged things. This is called winged things. And I've actually, and I'm going to show you in a second, I've actually been cutting these out and using them as individual embellishments and using them on things. I've tried to space this one so that you can use them individually, or they're spaced out nicely enough to be a single panel. Then we've got our floral fox, and I'm really pleased with how well these are printed out. It's quite a heavyweight fabric. It's an off-white, it's a natural, so it's, again, it was a dilemma. I could have gone for the kind of a bleached white, but I quite like the natural look. So we've got our floral fox, which I'm sure many of you will recognise. We've got our wonderful stallion from Ankit, which I think is, I miss these stamps. I must look at restocking these stamps because I do love these horse images. Again, it's got real drama and it's dynamic just in its own right as black and white. This is a really lovely one, great for this time of year. We've got Sun Bunny. What was it? It was our A5. It's our friendship stamp set that this came from, and it was by Olga. And of course, you've got all that beautiful detailing around the focal image, so it's kind of naturally framed in its own right. And then I couldn't do a set of panels without a Beauty in Bloom image, because I think it's probably been our most popular stamp set ever. So, and she does look beautiful, doesn't she? Just printed as she is on the neutral panel. So this is one of those where I'd be really interested to see whether it's something that appeals to you and what you do with them. And obviously I will be contributing my 2 pennies as things that I might or have been doing with them. So let's go to some of those samples just to share the ideas. So this one is a work in progress on a hoop, because I haven't actually added stitching to it yet. So this has just been I've just painted this. I've used and again, because I'm not planning here to wash this and using it purely decoratively, I'm not worried about fabric paints. I do have some fabric paints, but I have kind of used whatever is to hand to colour these. So this is a mix. I think this is just some normal acrylics and some fabric paints, and I used watercolour for the face, for just adding a bit of warmth to the skin tone Really, really easy to do. And then I've added some stenciling just to extend the design across. But I will be adding some stitching into the centers of the flowers just to give it a little bit more impact. And of course, you could be adding buttons. You could be using seed beads. You know, you could really kind of go further with that. So definitely a slow stitchy and lovely slow stitchy project, like Andrea. And then this is what I was saying about the wings, the kind of butterflies and moths. So I have cut them out here. I've actually put them on some wadding and stitched them to give them a little bit more kind of texture and body. And this is a bit of old net curtain that I sprayed blue. Use it because I quite like the kind of the see-through effect. It looks like they're kind of floating on the hoop. So all I've done is painted the hoop, and actually I've just used safety pins to put these onto there, so I could remove them if I wanted to. So that's a lovely idea, to have a bigger hoop with more kind of stitched embellishments on. And if you use a safety pin, then you could use them as brooches or just have them up for display when you're not using them in other ways. So that's what I mean about the butterflies being separate or separatable. And then this is what I've done with the beautiful rabbit. Again, acrylics. I've done a lot of I've done stitching here on the florals. So that's kind of got a slightly more dimensional look to it. And I'm as lots of you know, I'm no stitching expert, but I'm absolutely loving my stitching. So, you know, I'm kind of making it up as I go along a little bit, but enjoying the texture it's giving me and the fact it kind of brings in some really vibrant colours. I did one of our bees, and I will be bringing some of these little MDF buttons, heart buttons, to the shop some point soon, and also these MDF words, because I think they're nice embellishments, but they're not available on the shop at the moment. So there's a bit of the honeycomb stencil as well. Super, super simple to do, but and it's not about everything going into a hoop, but I've got a slight hoop obsession going on at the moment. Because let me show you this one. So I've made an art journal out of embroidery hoops. So all I've done is put two hoops together, and let me explain, and left the top one as a kind of with just the frame, and attached a journal to the other one, so that it kind of, the journal's nestling between the two embroidery hoops. And so then I've done a kind of circular little journal that sits inside with all the elements from the Let It Be collection. And I just love how that kind of looks with the you know, in that circular format, but in the embroidery hoops as well. So really simple to do. I mean, all the same techniques and things that you've seen. There you go, kind of clean and simple page, but with that clear overlay with the Bountiful stencil over the top, it gives a real impact. And I love the fact that the clear overlay then looks as cool on the other side as well when you're looking at it from the other direction. And there you go. And of course, that wonderful eye from Fade Out. Was that last month? Was it January or was it December? I'm totally losing track. And then all I've done, and so I've used our papers and stencils on fabric and everything on to do the cover. And then I did a bit of stenciling and then just some slow stitching on the back. But that was just something I was working on, and I thought the colours worked nicely with this particular collection. So super easy to do. It might be something I do a class on if it's the kind of project that you're interested in. But it's just nice to have a slightly unusual covers for our journals. Right, I've covered up the rest of my samples here. Oh, let me show you this, because this is a nice example of the MDF frame, which is all I've done is used some embossing powder on this top layer to give me that kind of speckledy look. Papers, stencils, the stuff there. So, I was going to show you what I like as well in terms of trying to have a neat back on the hoops is I've like used the papers to back the hoops so that it looks nice. I don't always do that, but when I do it, I'm really proud of myself. So I had to tell you. So there we go with that speckledy embossing to really kind of bring that frame to life. Very, very easy. And then talking MDF, I've got a couple of the hearts here. These are really quick and simple to do. They're really nice projects. Again, I've used our papers on them. The bees sit nicely on that design, and I'm going to do a demo on this. I've kind of stamped the florals underneath on the layer below the honeycomb, so you just have some extra interest there that you see through the honeycomb itself. But these are lovely little gifts to give, and certainly if you were giving this as a gift with a card made with the bee, then I think that would be a nice, really nice combination. Then I think Debbie was mentioning, wasn't she, the oh God, what's it called, Debbie? Is it the cracked honeycomb? Cracked hexagons? The A7 stamp in a way. So all I've done on this one is simply stamp that A7 stamp as a background for the bee, and then I've used the filler stamps from the A5 Let It Be stamp set to create the background. In fact, if I change that to something else, then I reckon that could be my February entry, couldn't it? Because it could be yellow, clean and simple-ish. I mean, you can be very, very specific about clean and simple in relation to it only being one layer. My criteria on clean and simple really is that there is white space, so there is somewhere for your eye. Thank you, Broken Hexagon. So yeah, there is somewhere for your eye to rest. Yeah, the Broken Hexagons, Ali. Yeah, that's the one I meant. I've got a honeycomb on the brain. And then this one, I've used that Broken Hexagons around the edge of this black panel, white heat embossed it to create a kind of really kind of cool background for our focal panel, where of course you can see we've got the Bountiful stencil in the middle there. Some nice warm tones, really nice and simple. That could be a journal page. I've done this in a card format, but it could be a journal page equally. And then talking journal pages, I haven't put this in my journal yet, but this is where it will end up. Sprays for the background, sprays, so it all kind of is fairly soft on the eye. And then I've clear heat embossed the honeycomb stencil over the top for a little bit further, another further layer, and a bit of the paper at the bottom there. So, and a splatter of neon pink, just because I wanted some neon pink, and I also wanted to pick up the fact that there was some pink from the paper as well. So that's how I did that. So that's a really simple page. I was toying with putting a bee on it, but I actually ended up quite liking it as it was. So I've left it like that for now. So they're my samples. I haven't got anything from a design team to share with you this month, but hopefully you can see I've been busy, can't you? I've really had fun with the collection, and I'm hoping you can see whether it be MDF, whether it be journal, whether it be cards. There are just so many different formats that it will work with. So I know I've been busy, Julie, haven't I? That's why I had to apologise the other day for being so quiet on Facebook, because obviously I couldn't really share the samples I was working on, but I was beavering away. Oh, let me show you this, because this is kind of was showcases the papers. So this is a project that I'm going to do at our Craft Collective in-person workshop in Denshaw at the end of the month, 22nd of February. So the papers, this is a really simple, you can tell hoops are my current obsession. Really simple, but using the papers for embellishments and for the base. But this time I've used almost kind of the frame the wrong way round, so it's recessed, and therefore you can put embellishments and things within the frame. I think that's really quite a cute bit of home decor. So that's what we're going to be doing in person on the 22nd, if any of you are joining us. So I'm trying to prop it up. That's not a good idea. Oh. Well, you coming, Jane? Oh, that's cool. Oh, and remember, everybody, I've got the in-person workshop in Wakefield for just me. I'm doing where we're going to be doing some really cool making collage papers, putting together a concertina book, etc. I'm just so looking forward to getting together in May for that. It is available to book on the website, and I will put a reminder in a forthcoming newsletter. There's just been so much going on. Right, let's do a little bit of making. If you're in the mood and you're happy to sit and watch me faffing about, then I want to do two things, actually, if that's okay with you. Oh, you're coming in May, Ali? Oh, that's fabulous. Do you know what? I've not been to the Centre Parks at Sherwood. I've been to the one up in the lakes area. Well, I can't remember what it's called. We used to love Centre Parks when the boys were little. I'll let you off. Ali. You're allowed to go to Centre Parks. Anyway, I've got two very short demos to share with you, and one of them, this one actually, is using one of the techniques that I share on the Stencils Unlocked program, the free mini stencil course that I've got on the website. And I wanted to start again. The way I show it on the course, it's layering up two stencils, and this time I want to layer on top of some stamping, but it's very much the same technique, just again to get you thinking about ways that you can layer up and ensure that you don't leave your pattern paper without any of your own marks on it as well. Yeah, beer faffing, that's what we need, isn't it, Donna? So what am I going to do? That's right. So, and the other thing I wanted to do was just show you very quickly how I colour and decorate the MDF hearts. That's the plan, but it won't take long. It won't be an all-nighter, everybody. So I'm going to use the Inky Botanicals on this paper from the Sherbet Biz paper pad, and I'm going to stamp them in some bright colour, because I think quite often when we look at anything that has kind of a silhouette vibe to it, we typically, and I typically default to black. But with the lovely soft colours in this paper, it's got these pinks, it's got that kind of very soft limey green, it's got some light blue. It's an invitation to bring more of that colour onto the rest of what is a fairly neutral background. So I'm going to, this is a new stamp set because my other one is filthy and it does need cleaning. So I thought I'd better just break out a new one. And that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. So this is a lovely, this stamp is a lovely large image. And I'm going to stamp it in pink. I think this is Charming Pink by VersaFine. Typically my favourite stamping ink. And as I say, these images are deliberately not full and perfect, so very forgiving. And I'm not even standing up to do this stamping. I'm sat down tonight. I normally stand up to craft, but I'm going to try and do this all from the seated position. So, how beautiful does that look? So you can see immediately how the pink in the paper starts to pop because you've added pink to it. So what was previously maybe a slightly more muted element of the background paper has been pulled forward. I know we are looking at the south, Jane. I keep sending Erica and Leonie kind of venue details, but it's hard when you don't know the areas that you're looking at. But we are actively discussing getting down south. So I'm doing a second one here. I could have done a second generation, but I actually want these colours to be quite vibrant because I'm going to be stenciling over the top of them. So anything second generation probably get a bit lost. You can see immediately how you could just stamp that a couple of times, put a sentiment on it, and it could be a card front or a journal page. So let's get some green on the scene. Which one? No. This one I found I use a lot because it's a slightly more, slightly finer elements to it. So this is a great, you know, when you've got a piece of foliage or you've got an element that you want to use as your builder or your background foliage. This is the one I've been using a lot because it's just kind of dots really. I'll lift it up in a second. Hopefully you can see it. So again, now I'm hoping you start, your eye, I think, naturally starts to go to those green elements on the page because you've got now a stronger green coming into the details. The pink on this one is the Charming Pink, Debbie Love. Charming Pink, and this one is Verdant of the VersaFine Greens. It's got a nice pop to it, this green. Pink and green's a nice combo though, isn't it? I don't think I need really much more, but once I start inking up. So there you go. And then of course you imagine you put the black and white washes on this. I mean, they've got the look of a black and white washi at the bottom here. You could extend that across and ground your foliage. For the sake of stamp size, I didn't have the stem on this one particularly long because I wanted to fit stuff onto the stamp plate, but it's easy enough to extend if you want to make it, give it more of a stalk. So I'm just going to leave this one for a second because what I'm going to do over the top is clear heat emboss a stencil. So I want to just give that ink, I could use the heat gun and I may well blast it before I do it. But of course, if you're going to do any clear heat embossing over the top of this, you want this ink now to be dry because you don't want to catch the detail of your stamp with the embossing powder. So I'm just going to give it a second to rest, as I call it, and do a little thing on MDF just to share how I do the MDF. It's not the law, but it's just my little take. Certainly I'm doing the MDF quickly. And for those of you that don't necessarily have a huge range of paints, but that's cool, isn't it, just by itself? Japanesey. What, the whole design or the florals? Interesting. Right. I will not disagree with Mr. Longbill. I'm sure he's correct. Yeah, you work on Erica Jane. So what I've already done on this solid base of the MDF heart is I have just drawn around it on the pattern paper, cut it out, stuck it down, and then just sanded the edge just to give me a nice smooth finish along the side. So super simple to do. I didn't want to take up too much of your time this evening just showing that, but obviously when you draw around the image, your cutout is slightly bigger than your MDF base, so cut inside the pencil line just a very slight smidge, and then sand it to give yourself a neat finish. With these, if you are going to use both layers together, it doesn't matter too much how neat your edge is, because obviously your top layer is going to disguise it anyway, which is always nice. Oh yeah, circle doesn't look like a moon. That's good. Yeah, very well observed. So in terms of the honeycomb, obviously you can use your acrylic paints, and that's what I typically colour or paint my MDF with. But with things like the honeycomb, I don't know if you've come across this before, but if I'm using a brush, then I tend to get lots of globs of paint within that open space because the bristles go down in between. What the best way of avoiding that really, where is it? Is you could use a foam brush instead, because of course it's less likely to go in between those spaces, so you don't overload your MDF with paint kind of building up in those spaces. But an even quicker way that I do when I'm being, I was going to say lazy, but I say time efficient, is I literally just rub an ink pad over the top. So I will colour this one with my black ink pad purely by just rubbing it over. And it's really quick, but and what I have been doing as well is using my distressing pads over the top. And then if you've got any of the distressed glazes, the embossing glazes in the complementing colour, using that on top, because of course it intensifies the colour and it coordinates with the distress. So that's a good alternative as well. You can see how quickly that covers. Now, I do like my MDF to have a bit of a glossy finish. I've got a jumbo jar here of I've got the regular clear here, because when you are doing this kind of embossing, the more the regular obviously is a coarser powder than superfine, and it just helps you build up that enameled look more quickly. And most of you will know, of course, oh, that's a lot of embossing powder. I don't know how I do it with these large pots, but there always seems to be more powder going back in than came out. So I'll just give this a quick blast. I hope I don't distress glazes. Embossing powder. It's like a translucent embossing powder in the distress ink color palette. Yeah, braying would be another good one as well. There you go. Oh. Sorry, it bugs me if I miss a bit. Don't mention distressed daisies. I'm sure Tim Holtz will probably bring something out. So yeah, how quick and easy is that? You've got the shine. I would go back over with with some Versamark and Versamark, the clear sticky embossing ink, and give it another layer just to give me a really thick glaze. But it's just a really kind of hassle-free way of colouring your MDF. If certainly smaller projects, if you've got bigger solid areas, I would typically paint them, and I'd probably use a foam brush to minimize brush strokes. But this is a really nice quick way when you've got smaller pieces, particularly when they've got open spaces in them. So for example, when I've what have I done with that now? Yeah, when I did this MDF here in the gold, sorry, I'm not going to get paint on that. I would just go straight in with an ink and emboss it so it doesn't kind of get overwhelmed with the paint. It could just be me. I could just be being heavy-handed with my paint, which would not surprise me. And so all I've been doing with these MDF pieces is a nice kind of just an interesting touch that when you give it to somebody, it will catch their eye, is simply stamping one of the Inky Botanicals. And these work nicely because they're quite strong silhouette images. So of course, you're going to put your honeycomb over the top. You don't want something that's fine detail that won't be visible, really. I know we could all watch heat embossing all day, couldn't we? I really do love these botanical images. Anything that makes me look like I can get a really good gel print is a winner for me. And then you see when you put your heart on top, you've just got something there which is going to add a little bit of interest behind the honeycomb. And all you need to do then is obviously pop one of the bees on there. I'm not going to stick it down because I want to get to the other technique. The other bee, blimey, Sarah, there you go. One of the bees on there. And it's just a really lovely, quick project. And of course, you've got your pattern paper on the background as well. Hello, lovely Amanda. Oh, good to see you. Thanks for joining us this evening. I keep meaning to message you. I need to get another date in the diary. Right, now, I'm hoping that interlude has given us long enough. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to just move this piece of paper out of the way because it's got a load of embossing powder on it. I would decant it under normal circumstances, but I've got guests. So what I'm going to do now is that technique that if you've watched Stencils Unlocked, you may have seen me do, which is using my stencil over the top and catching the detail that sits underneath that embossed stencil before we add some colour to fill in around it. It's easier for me to show you than explain it, I think. So for this technique, you are going to benefit from having a stencil with larger open spaces. This is probably at the smaller end of what I'd recommend because, of course, what you're going to do here is you're going to clear heat emboss these apertures. And what's underneath there will be protected by the emboss. It will resist whatever you put on top of it. So if it's a very fine detail image, then you're going to block out a lot. Whereas the bigger the open spaces in your stencil, the more detail you're going to see underneath that resist. So let me get some clear embossing ink over the top of this stencil. I'm going to use a brush to do this. So I'm going to ink that up well. So I'm hoping, and I haven't hit this with the heat gun, I am hoping that my stamping has dried. But that is the key thing with this, is you don't want to you don't want the layers underneath this stenciling to be damp and catching your embossing powder, or you'll lose the definition of the stencil. I hope that makes sense to you. Have you all done the Stencils Unlocked sessions, by the way? Any feedback? Anything you particularly enjoyed? I always love to hear. I feel like I'm moving this stencil. That's the challenge with the embossing ink, is that being a bit stickier, it does drag. But I think I've got the area covered. You'll get the gist. So, of course, you can see nothing here. We'll cut again, clear. The regular embossing powder will work nicely for this because we want coverage rather than detail, detail being captured. And I like the look of just the clear heat embossed stencil on its own. I think it always gives a nice subtle element, a subtle layer. Yes, absolutely. I could have bashed an anti-static over the flowers. I have lost my anti-static bag, but that would be the sensible thing to do, Ali. That was successful. I got all the embossing powder back in that time. So let's just, sorry everyone, this has got more heat gun. I do use just one brush for the Versamark or the embossing ink because it's sticky. Even if I tried washing it, it never really kind of goes back to that fine bristle. So I know I am abusing a blending brush using it in that way. But I just typically just try and keep one for that purpose. And it's normally the one that is, I can feel it on my fingers, but also it often picks up a little bit of whatever color is on the stencil, so I always kind of identify it like that. But yeah, it's a good point, Debbie. So let's trying to identify where the stenciling is. There we go. Can you see it? You see that detail just turning, it's just showing up a bit like a ghost now. So I quite like that in its own right. For those of you wanting to do clean and simple this month, that's quite a nice technique to still get some pattern on there, but not make it too dominant. And then I seem to be swimming in embossing powder. Then I'm going to put, I could use a blending brush for this, but I'm feeling a little bit gung-ho this evening, a bit reckless. So I'm just going to go straight in with an ink pad over this area where we have our embossing. And I'm going to go beyond that because I quite like the blend out on the paper. So I've got Peacock Feathers and Twisted Citron here, which I think pick up the colours nicely that we've been using. And then, so obviously the embossing isn't all the way across the page, but actually I think it's quite nice to just create that, just pull the ink out and create a slightly softer blend out onto that bit of the page. Now it depends what you can do. You might be only using this panel, but I would quite like I would work a bit harder to get a bit of a softer blend going across there and leave some of this page without any ink on it. And then, as you'll have seen many times with the embossing powder, you can just bring that design back out. So I'm hoping you can see now what I mean. About how the image sits. See you later, Safia. Thank you so much for joining us. You can see now how this design is sitting underneath the embossed stenciling, but we've got that colour around it as well. So you're bringing out the detail of your embossing here, like you would do with any emboss resist, but you're capturing your stamped image as well underneath it. So it's a nice. Do you know? I've just used me use my embossing brush. I haven't said to Debbie, oh yes, and I keep it to one side. I blame you all. You were just distracting me there. And then I'm just now adding a bit of the Distress oxide directly, because it's just pulling that colour across, so it's connecting up with this pale green that's already on the paper. So it's a really, and I'm doing a bit just down this corner, so I've got this element here which has got some colour. So we still have, getting carried away, on our pattern paper, we still have these elements that have got the colour coming across. We've captured our stamped image underneath the stenciling, but we've not lost all the details. So all the text that was in that paper is showing through underneath the honeycomb. I hope that makes sense. So yes, I know. Wait, Vanessa, I'm so sorry. Oh, honestly, I shouldn't be allowed out, should I? Using the brushes. I know that one was the embossing ink one. I think, yeah, that's an epic fail. So I wanted to share that with you as a nice way of building on your papers, not losing your stamping under your stenciling, and also not losing some of the beautiful detail, and that you've kind of made this paper your own now. But I have quite deliberately, when I've thought about the colours that I was using on here, I have deliberately used colours that are already in this paper. So I wouldn't necessarily do this technique with papers, the colours that aren't on the paper at all, because they're going to fight. So although these colours are quite subtle, by using the stronger versions in the details we've added, we've made it cohesive. I hope that makes sense to you. So they were my two quick demos, my paper and maybe went, and my just quick hack for colouring your honeycomb hearts. And of course, say if you get the full bundle, you will get one of those hearts in for free as well. So So you'd have one to have a try with. I think lots of you are quite familiar and comfortable with the MDF now. So your challenge now is to move with me into the fabric panels. And I'm so excited to see what you do with yours. And I will be sharing some further inspiration and techniques. And also thinking about getting something filmed on the embroidery hoop art journal, given you seem to like that as well. So that's lovely feedback. So I hope you like the collection. I hope you're inspired by our Take 3 prompts: yellow, gratitude, clean and simple. So I'll be putting those in the group and sharing these images, sharing more pictures over the next few days of some of the samples that I've shown you this evening. But I'm so glad that you've taken the time to join me this evening to have a look at the products and have a bit of a chat. I've got an idea in mind. It's just percolating. It's just percolating at the moment, but of maybe a way that we can spend a little bit more time together online, because we don't get to spend enough time chatting and crafting, do we? So I'm thinking about that, and I'll share more later on the newsletter. But thank you, and I've loved spending this evening with you. Thank you as always for your company and support. I will be recording my YouTube video tomorrow, so there'll be a YouTube video this weekend as well. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your week. Hope it's fantastic. And yeah, let's fill the Facebook group with lots of fabulous makes and inspiration this month. So I'll see you again soon. I better get off and get some tea, and take care for now. See you soon. Bye.